Today, I'll be discussing a highly anticipated and highly controversial fragrance among the community. It's none other than Fragrance One Office for Men by Jeremy Fragrance. So stay tuned and cue the music! Hello to my lovely subscribers and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Andrea with Curly Sense and thank you so much for tuning in. So, as a follow-up to my last video, I'll be giving you guys a more in-depth review as well as my personal thoughts on Jeremy's new creation. It's time to break the tie. Before we get started, I just feel the need to say that I was not paid by Jeremy in any way, and I bought this bottle with my own money. I received quite a few comments on my last video implying that I may have been a paid promoter for Jeremy, but the truth is that I've never even spoken to him. Okay, with that out of the way, let's get into the review. First category up, presentation. As most of you already know, the bottle and box have a very bare bones design that leaves quite a bit to be desired. For me personally, if I were to release my own fragrance for the first time, I would make sure that every aspect was perfect in my eyes before releasing it. Of course, I don't have my own fragrance out, so I definitely respect Jeremy for taking on the challenge. But now let's get into the most important part, which is the juice itself. When you first spray Office for Men, you'll be greeted by a heavy dose of Abraxane and bergamot, which will last for most of the fragrance's life. I'm also getting a bit of a fruity and floral vibe with some pepper mixed in as well. Now, a lot of people have been comparing this to other fragrances like Sauvage, Aventus, Bleu de Chanel, and Prada L'Homme, but to be honest, I don't think it smells that close to any of those. If I were to compare this to something, I would say that it somewhat reminded me of a less bitter, less salty Aqua Amara. It's very fresh, a little bit soapy and quite sharp in the beginning, and this is clearly a mass-appealing and pleasant scent. Through the mid, the bergamot is toned down, but you're still getting that citrusy and Abraxane combination. At this point, I'm starting to pick up on a slight powderiness, which I'm guessing is due to the iris, but this definitely won't remind you of any iris-based fragrances, as it's very much in the background here. Office for Men dries down to a woody and musky base, and is a classic dry down that I've definitely smelled before, but is pleasing nonetheless. Overall, this is a nice fragrance, but I find it to lack depth and uniqueness, and it's also quite linear as well. Performance is very nice for a freshie, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's beastly. I'm getting about 8 to 9 hours of longevity with about 2 hours of moderate to heavy projection. In the first hour, it projects quite strongly. In the second hour, I get about an arm's length before it becomes a skin scent for the rest of its life. Office for Men is a very versatile fragrance that will definitely work for many different occasions, including the office, of course. To me, this will do very well for the spring and summer seasons, and it's an easy reach for somebody who wants to smell clean, fresh, and safe, but I wouldn't say that this is too casual. I can see this working well with a nice button-up shirt for when you want to give off a good impression without being too much. Because of the mass-appealing DNA of the scent, Office for Men will surely be a good compliment getter. In my last video, it received some very high ratings, including a 9 out of 10 and even an 11 out of 10. At the same time, I was surprised that 3 different women mentioned that it was quite feminine to their nose and didn't like it for that reason. While I do think this is clearly masculine, I can see what they meant because of the floral nuances it gives off in the opening. Office for Men definitely competes with a lot of popular designer fragrances, but this is where price becomes a big issue. I have to be straight up and say that Office for Men is not niche quality to my nose, and at the now $200 price point is clearly overpriced. There was a lot of hype surrounding this fragrance and my expectations were quite high. But after my first sniff, I gotta say that I was a bit disappointed. In my humble opinion, I will put the money towards buying a niche quality fragrance or a couple of designers that will give you the same feel as Office for Men. Of course, if you're buying this fragrance for the purpose of supporting Jeremy and his content, then that's a completely different story. But unfortunately, I can't recommend this fragrance for the price. So in response to my last video and taking everything into consideration, smell, as well as pricing and presentation, Bleu de Chanel EDP is the tiebreaker for me. Conversation time! I would love to hear your thoughts on Office for Men by Jeremy Fragrance, and also let me know what your scent of the day is. Mine is Roger Dove's Elixir. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, don't forget to subscribe, turn on your bell notifications, and give this video a big thumbs up so I know that you enjoyed it. See you soon!